Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. It's a sad show today, a show of reflection. I got a call on Saturday afternoon from Johnny Tudor with the sad news that an old friend, Ruth Madoc, had passed away quite suddenly. Johnny, I got your call. I was actually at the football on Saturday, and I thought, well, that's strange, Johnny Tudor calling me on a Saturday afternoon. But it took everybody by surprise, didn't it?
Well, it took me by surprise because I spoke to her 2 days before. I'd heard through the grapevine that she'd had an accident and broken her leg, and she was in hospital down in Torquay where she was rehearsing for the pantomime.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I better give her a ring and she'll have a mobile. So I rang her and we had a good chat. She was full of beans. She said, oh, sorry, I've had to pull out of the panto, but I'm looking forward to my tour of the Marigold Hotel, which is in the new year. I said, oh, great, that's, you'll get better soon. So I got to have this operation first. They sent for a special, some kind of titanium thing to put a plate in her leg and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And that was on 2 days ago. Then I get a phone call Saturday morning, and it's Reese, her son, Ruth Madoc. He says, hello, John, it's Reese. I said, oh, hello, Reese. He said, spoke to your mother. How is she? He said, well, some sad news. He said, she didn't make it. I said, what do you mean? Didn't make it. He said, well, she died in the hospital and I couldn't revive her. I said, I don't believe. I was completely gobsmacked because, A, you didn't expect it, and B, you go in for a broken leg, you don't expect to die on the table, do you?
Yeah, and particularly, someone so full of life. I think that's what you could say.
That's right. Full of beans, never gave in. I actually said to her on the phone, I said, what are you doing this for, Ruth? I said, you don't need to do this. I said, we're getting a bit old now for jumping about on stages, I said, and doing tours. She said, oh, I like it, she said, I like the theatre. And I can understand that,
Yeah.
And in a way, I suppose the only good thing is she died doing what she liked to do. She was working until, like my old friend Stan, he died 2 weeks after we did a gig. I mean, show people are like that, aren't they? They don't stop working unless the phone stops ringing.
No, exactly. So, for people who don't know, I mean, we did a lovely special with Ruth herself. A couple of years ago. So much more to, I wrote an article, so much more to Ruth Madoc than Heidi High. I mean, when you first met her, let's go back in time then. When you first met her, you were both working in Welsh television, but you were both English speakers, non-Welsh speakers.
Well, yeah, I didn't learn Welsh till I was 33, see. So I'm going back now to 1967, 68. And it was the first series really I'd done. It was Ryan Davis had written it, Ryan and Ronnie.
Yes.
Ryan had written this series. It was Margaret Williams, Ruth Llewellyn, as she was known then.
Ruth
Took her mother's maiden name,
yes.
Llewellyn. So, and Bryn Williams, he was another great singer, and so on, and dancers and so on. And we had a 12-part series. I think it was 12 parts anyway. And we recorded it in BBC. In those days, used to be in Broadway, Cardiff.
Right.
Not Broadway, New York.
You made it a Broadway. I knew you would.
Yeah, it was an old church that had been reclaimed and made into a BBC studio.
Right.
And so that's the first time I met her, really. And there was this beautiful girl. I mean, she was beautiful. I mean, she was beautiful to the end. But when she was young, she was such a beautiful girl. Black hair, looked gypsy-fied. She was lovely, vibrant, Yeah. And we just got on like a house on fire. We just hit it off. She used to call me her browd.
Yeah.
My brother.
And as you say, not speaking Welsh, but definitely working in Welsh. She'd learned learned it parrot fashion, the whole thing.
Well, I mean, Ryan used to do these translations, and a fellow called Howell Gwynfryn, you probably know Howell, do you?
Yes.
Well, Howell used to do some of the translations. And in those days, we used to translate English songs into Welsh.
Right.
So we'd learn these, Ruth and I, as like a parrot, just the sounds. We could pronounce them because we're brought up in Wales. You can you?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So, and we can remember them to this day, We used to sing, June is busted out all over. So, I mean, they stuck all this time, they're still in there because we had to work so hard to learn them,
Yeah.
But if we couldn't ad lib, if we went wrong, look out,
Right.
Just have to. Yeah. And in those days, the producer said, don't you dare stop, he said, because it cost me £60 to cut this tape. In those days, that's how they used to edit it, by cutting it, like in the old days in the studios, Now it's all done electronically, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So we were afraid. Go on, sorry.
No. So you met her then, and then she married Philip Madoc, and she had a career, all around the country, didn't she? As an actress.
Next time I met her, funny enough, is after the series, I got a couple of cabaret gigs, and one was in Northampton in a nightclub, and I had no digs. And the MD of the nightclub was a fellow called Maurice Merry, who became Gene Pitney's MD.
Oh, right.
Anyway, he said, "Where you staying, John?" I said, "Well, I got no ticket." He said, "Well, come and stay with me." So I said, "Oh, thank you very much." So off I go to his house, and I can hear all this row, shouting and screaming, him and his wife somewhere, and crockery smashing. I thought, what's going on? Turned out he was in the middle of an acrimonious divorce. So I thought, I can't stay here. So I rang Ruth, see? Yeah. Now, she lived in St Albans then.
Right.
So she said, "Well, come and stay with me. It's only down the road. It's only an hour." So I get in the car, straight down the M4, stay with Ruth. And I had a fantastic week with her and Philip. She was still married to Philip then. Yeah. And we just laughed for the whole week. I used to come home from work late at night, and you know what it's like. You got the old adrenaline.
You can't sleep. You can't
I'd see the light on in the bedroom, and I'd burst into the bedroom.
Do 20 minutes.
And tell him jokes. I mean, when I think about it, and there's Philip sitting in bed, like, just laughing.
Philip Madoc. Yeah.
Philip Madoc. He said to me, and he was going out one day, he was going for an audition up at Elstree for some film with Sophia Loren. Now, I just bought a new Triumph Spitfire, spanking brand new, right?
Yeah.
He said, "Can I borrow your car, John? It looks great coming into the studio." And I said, "Go on." And she took the car, and he got the job. I said, "Right, you're going to have to introduce me now to Sophia Loren." I love that woman. Anyway, and she was well in front then with Reese. She was expecting Reese.
Right.
So I was with her all the time. So that was the second time I met her, right? The next time I met up with her, I'd gone up to London or somewhere. No, I was doing a show with Windsor Davis in St Albans. Remember he had that record out?
Yes.
What was it? Whispering Grass?
Yes.
So she said, "Well, come and stay with us," me and Phil. So we went to stay. Alwyn was with me as well. Yeah. And she said, "Can you give me a lift home to Cardiff when you go back?" She said, "I've got to do a Poems and Pints." That series they did with Max Boyce, remember?
Yes.
And I said, "Yeah, I'll give you a lift." So she's in the car. And she said, "Oh, I've just done this audition," she said, "for a situation comedy. I don't know if it's any good, but, I've done it anyway. It's a nice part." And it was Heidi High. Wow. Who would have thought it, Yeah. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those programs that changed her life, wasn't it? Because she had done And the Milkwood with Olwyn. She'd been
right.
in that with David Jason and all that. So she'd, had a wonderful career as a straight actress as well as, but a comedy came through in Heidi High, and that.
Yeah, also musically, see, because when I worked with her, she was as a singer.
Oh yes,
she was a soprano. You see,
she was in Fiddler in the Roof, singer, wasn't she? Yeah. And
but the thing is, then we keep meeting up, and she was always there for me, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. When I wrote this situation comedy for the BBC called Arrivederci Rhonda, she was the first I rang. I said, "Oh yeah, I'll do it for you, John," she said. And she played the part of this stripper with a snake. It was quite funny. See? And then that Windsor Davis was in it as well. And the next time then, she asked me to do the cabaret when she was the Queen Rat.
Oh, yes.
She became Queen Rat of the Water Rats. And every year the Queen Rat has a ball, to celebrate the Queen Rat and so on. Would I do the cabaret? So I was doing my pieces. All these pros would be in the audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Singing to your own is not as easy as this thing. So I did that for her with the lovely Beverly Humphreys, my ass. So Beverly and I were on the same table with Olwyn, and we did our bit for the cabaret. Went very well. Went to see her in Pickwick first the day before. She was travelling with Pickwick with Harry Seacombe. She was a great theatre person, you see. She loved the theatre. Yeah. So when I did the play about Dorothy Squires, Save Her Flowers, she was the first one I thought of. And she was fantastic because she got the same kind of feeling, because she was Welsh and she could get into Dorothy's skin, you know what I mean? Mm. And so she was always thereabouts in my life, right for 50-odd years. Yeah. And when I'd ring her up, we'd have a laugh, or I'd go down and see her when she moved back to Glynneath, Yeah. And it's just a shock that I just can't believe it. It's so hard to believe now. Very hard to believe.
And also, it's like the passing of the guard, really, isn't it? Because I'm not sure if we'll ever see That Like Again, Stan, Ryan and Ronnie, Eric, Morecambe and Wise, all those sort of artists who came through theatre, found their niche on television, and television changed their lives. And she could do everything, couldn't she? She could sing, dance, act.
Yeah. And she was great. I saw her played in Annie Gets Your Gun, and she played in, what was the other one she played Mrs. Hannigan. She did lots of musical tours, you see.
Yeah.
She loved the theatre. And when you saw her in the theatre, she had that voice, booming voice. She could get over the footlights, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, she was a proper theatre person, was Ruth.
Projection. Oh, well, we sympathise with you, because I know that a lot of radio stations, national radio stations, wanted to speak to you over the weekend. So well done for honouring your friend so well. You did a great job.
Yeah, well, there you go. You got to do what you do. But I just wish he was still here, really. But there you go. Anyway, as soon as I know from Reese what the situation is with it, they'll probably have a nice tribute to it in London, in the Actors Church. You know what it is in Covent Garden?
Right, lovely. So
because they did one there for Phil, her husband.
Yeah.
So they'll probably do that as well. And I don't know if she's going to be buried in Glynneath with her husband, John, her last husband. But anyway, I'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah, on a lighter note, I went to see my film last night.
Oh, I forgot about that. How did it go?
Yeah. It was good. There were 8 15-minute films, little short films, from the company My Shout, which is backed by the BBC and SOC, and a few more others, and Sony and all that. And there was some really good stuff.
Fantastic.
There was a couple of really good ones. And I'm looking forward to. They're coming out now, starting to come out this week, I think.
Oh, great!
The one I did is coming out on Friday,
right,
at 11:20,
right,
on BBC Two.
And what's it called?
It's called Not So Silent Night.
Not So Silent.
I don't want to blow the actual thing, but it's. I'm the grandfather, and I'm putting together a big party for my family because my daughter sadly died, and I'm trying to do it like she did it. But as you can imagine, I didn't do it as well, so I'm not going any further than that.
Fantastic. Okay, well, look, that's Johnny Show is on Friday night at 11:20. So
BBC Two Wales.
BBC Two Wales. Watch that, and also we've got a
and iPlayer. It's on iPlayer as well.
On iPlayer as well, and we've got that tribute to the interview that we did with Ruth last year or maybe the year before. So there'll be a little link at the end of this episode, so you can go back and hear Ruth tell her own story as well. Johnny, you're a good man, and you've done her proud yet again, and lovely to see you. I look forward to seeing your show on Friday, and we'll have a chat. Should we try and fit one more in before Christmas?
Why not? Why not? Give us a ring when you got the time, because you're like, I don't know what, you never stop. Where is he this week? Oh, he's in the BBC. Oh no, he's in London. Oh no, he's feeding the homeless.
Moving target. It's hard to hit the moving target. That's what somebody said.
Don't stand still long enough.
Yeah. All right, lovely loads.
As Harry Seacon would say. Harry Seacon would say they were with the audience were with me right. They were with me all the way. I managed to throw them off at the station. Hey, you have a great Christmas, and I will speak to you beforehand, but just in case, you have a great Christmas. You and all the family and all the little grandkids,
and yours as well. And I hope there aren't too many discussions between different members of the family. It's a great time of year, isn't it? Not such a silent night in the Johnny Toon household.
That's it.
Lovely to see you, Johnny. All right, take care of you.
And you, God bless. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.